Welcome everyone from Heavy Metal and Booze. We have a very special guest here, Phil from All That Remains. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
It's been quite a while. I've requested to have you interview before.
Yeah.
And just finally we got approval.
Cool.
So, had to wait a little bit, but here we are.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about the victim of the new disease.
Okay.
I know it's been about a year now since it was released.
Yep.
I think November of last year. How's things going with that album?
It's been great. I think the people that were looking for a heavy All That Remains record, I think they were pleasantly surprised with how heavy the record was. It is a pretty heavy record overall. There's a lot of the stuff that people say they were looking for from a heavy All That Remains record on the record. So, there's always going to be people that are like, oh, well, you did something that's not heavy, so they disregard the whole record.
Right.
Which is, that's what happens when you're dealing with people that are looking for only the heaviest or whatever. Or heavy becomes a substitute for good. I think that happens sometimes. But overall, I think we got really, really good reviews, and we got a lot of critical praise for it. So, we can't be, we couldn't be happy about it. So it seemed to strike a chord with people. So.
Right. Now, I remember reading that one of your first songs you did was "Fuck Love."
First
it
release.
was first release.
Mm-hmm.
What was the when you were planning on releasing that song and naming the song, obviously? Is there any kind of truth behind it, or any kind of like feelings behind it?
Well, lyrically, all the stuff that I write is always kind of based in where I'm at. And so, it's a personal song, and most of the time they are. So I think the lyrics kind of speak for themselves.
Right.
I don't know that I would endorse that as an overall philosophy.
Right.
But I think that most people can understand, why someone would feel like that. Is it really worth it to put the effort into a relationship, and stuff like that. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So, and then, as for the title, it's pretty obvious,
It's catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely jammed to it a few times.
Cheers.
Now, today is October 16th. Tomorrow's gonna be 1 year from when we lost Oli Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
So people could probably read about why he was found dead or what caused it. But I know I've also read that it's Wikipedia can be hit or miss. That it's still an investigation is still continuing.
There's currently an investigation open. Yes.
Okay. So we'll just leave it at that. But we do rest in peace, Ali. I know you're a huge part of the band, been there since day one. So we pay respects every day when you guys go out there on stage. So, what about future plans? I know you did replace him as a guitarist shortly afterwards. What are future plans regarding newer albums coming out, and just maybe the idea of maybe changing things up?
Well, we'll do we have another record that we're planning on doing another record. We're planning on doing it next year. Jason Richardson, our guitar player, he's got a solo record that he has to finish, and then we'll go ahead and start looking at doing an All That Remains record. We've got some touring that we're talking about at the beginning part of next year.
Okay.
But nothing I can announce or discuss yet. But we'll go ahead and. After this tour, Jason will go and work on his solo record, and then I'll go and get together with Mike, and we'll start coming up with some ideas for All That Remains, and then we'll probably record in the spring, summer of next year, something like that,
right.
Summertime probably, and then I want the record to come out in the first quarter of 2021.
Okay.
I don't want the record to come out next year. So
Right.
First, second quarter.
Don't rush it.
Don't rush it. I don't like having a record come out in the second half of the year in general anyway.
Right.
So, because if you can do it in the summertime, like July, August, okay, but once you get to September, then you got people are going to start thinking about the holidays real soon.
Yeah.
And so the record kind of gets put on the back burner and stuff like that. And
Right.
I'd much rather have the record come out in January or February and have the whole year open until the holidays. So.
Okay. Now, I mean, you guys have been around, I think, what, 21 years now?
It's
1998,
years.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, we started at the end of '98 is when I started writing stuff for All That Remains. Ollie joined in '99, September of '99. So we had the full band completed. He was the last person to join the band to make a 5-piece. We had the full band in September of 1999, so it's 20 years now.
Okay. This might be a difficult question then. Can you recall any of your favorite moments throughout the last 20 years?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. It's 20 years.
Yeah.
A long time.
Maybe some cities you played or some festivals you may have played?
Probably the best show, or my favorite show, was Rock USA just last year.
Okay.
We didn't think we were going to play. There was thunderstorms. There was a lot of issues with travel. I didn't think we were going to get there. We ended up getting there. I didn't think we were going to play. We're hanging out. Thunderstorms all day.
Oh, yeah.
Bands are getting canceled. And we're like, are we going to play? And they're like, yes, you're going to play. And we're like, are you serious? We're going to play? And they're like, yes.
That's up in Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
Oshkosh?
Yep.
Okay.
In Oshkosh. And we ended up playing. And we played, it was an abbreviated set.
Okay.
I forget who opened the main stage. Normally we were headlining the second stage. Normally the second stage gets done and they open the main stage.
Right.
But for some reason they had someone start playing on the main stage and they said we still want you guys to play a set after them. And then we're going to go back over there because I guess they were looking to go ahead and have a band play, have us play, and then have another band play, and then finish out the night if the storm's kind of chilled out. We were like, all right, so we hung out, and it was literally thunderstorming while they were setting up for us to play.
Right.
And we're just waiting for them to say no. Like literally expecting them to tell us, and then 20 minutes before, we're like, they haven't told us not to go, so we made our way to the stage. 15 minutes before, we're like, are you seriously gonna have us play? And then 10 and 5 minutes, and we're like, you guys really want us to play? And they're like, go, and we're like, it's on. And so we went out and we did our thing, and it was pouring. I mean, right from the very beginning, I was soaked. You walk out front, and it's just covered in because it's not just drizzling or whatever. It's pouring. There's thunder and lightning, and I've got some videos on my Instagram page. If you go back a year, that we're doing 2 weeks, and you can see thunder and lightning going across the sky. It was incredible. I've got a picture from my buddy of mine, David Jackson, who's a photographer. He's a super pro guy, and he got this great picture that I have, that I framed because it's you can see the top of the stage and you can see the whole crowd, and I'm like over here about this big, and you can just see the rain coming down, and it's a great picture, and you can see people for what seems like miles, probably 20,000-30,000 people watching us, and it was extremely memorable, and it's definitely a highlight of my career.
Okay.
The crowd was amazing.
They stuck around for it, obviously.
They were insane. They were crazy. I mean, it was definitely one of the most memorable shows of my career.
Probably a big old mud pit afterwards.
Probably was. I don't know. I didn't go out there, but there was definitely plenty of mud around.
Okay. Now, what do you think about the state of music today? A lot of people, you always see these things on blabbermouth of where certain musicians saying like, "Oh, rock is dead," or "Rock's coming back," or social media and streaming music's killing the industry. But what is your whole opinion on rock music today? Are there bands that you think are gonna carry the torch?
I don't know. I mean, the internet has made things so hard to predict. It used to be you could kind of be like, all right, I can kind of see how things are going. At the end of the 90s, right? Very end of the 90s, you could see, at least from where I was standing, you could see that there was going to be likely to be a resurgence of metal. Shadows Fall, Killswitch Engage, Lamb of God, these bands were just starting out, just starting to get, you know, people paying attention to them. You know, nu metal had kind of run its course,
Right.
and there was something fresh about the kind of the metalcore scene, and you could see that there was going to be a resurgence. I don't know that you can see things like that anymore. I think that things surprise people because of how quickly they spread from, you know, cell phone to cell phone. People, there have been people that have argued with me about the impact of the internet. So I think that the impact of the internet wasn't really felt strongly until the dawn of the smartphone. Like, it was there, but you had to go to it.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't always connected. People are constantly connected with their cell phones now, with their smartphones. You could go on the internet. You could go home, sit down behind your computer, and get on the internet. You don't get on the internet anymore.
Yeah.
You're on the internet or you're not.
Now it's in your hand.
It's always with you, and that's like, you know. So the real impact of the internet is only now just starting to be felt.
Okay.
You know, that honestly, that's what I think, and I think that once you get, like, people like Elon Musk are talking about different ways to interface. Neural net, like the ability to use your brain to control the internet or to access the internet, you know, biohacking and stuff like that. I think that that's something that's closer than people realize, and I think that the most limiting factor when it comes to interfacing with the internet is this is how we do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's thumbs and fingers. When people are no longer limited by that slow interaction, that slow interface, then I think we'll see some really incredible things coming from the internet. So I think that we're just on the dawn of seeing the impact the internet's going to have, and I don't think that we really can grasp it yet. I think there are people out there that might be able to grasp it, or there are people out there that can grasp it, but not everybody. Because, you know, Grandma's only been on Facebook for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
When everybody is always online, that's when you can say, all right, let's see what the internet can really do.
Okay.
And right now, I think that it's just barely starting, you know.
Okay. Now I know you mentioned the internet quite a bit, and you're very active when it comes to Twitter. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of posts, and whether it's like you don't hold back anything, you really don't hold back political views and everything. And I've seen you post a lot of like things that are like obviously against, not against, I shouldn't say against, but like the whole like people who are against anti-guns or whatever, or this whole pro-anti, you know, things like that. Like me, I'm pro-guns. I mean, I'm a veteran myself. I think guns are a necessary item to, you know, for self-protection. Mm-hmm. But when you got politicians that are, you know, want to take that away from you, you know, that's how you start. That's through the Civil War, kind of, partially. Yeah. You know, to take away someone's rights, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't like to see the Civil War. I don't really give a shit. But there were some aspects of that. Yeah.
I mean, I think that I think it's better to frame it when it comes to historically. It's better to frame it, or it's easier to understand when you frame it with the backdrop of the revolution. So, like, a big part of the reason that there was a revolution and we separated from England was because the crown was trying to take people's ability to be self-sufficient away. Right. And that's a big part of what I think guns and gun rights represent to a lot of people. It's not just the ability to, you know, it's certainly not hunting. You know, that's misdirection. It's the ability to be self-sufficient. So I mean, in a perfect world, you would never have to worry about defending yourself or defending your family. That would be, you know, it wouldn't be something that you'd have to worry about if you know, if we lived in a perfect world. Right. But, you know, in the world that we live in, you can call the police, but there is a lag time between when you call the police and when the police actually show up. Yeah. And what you do in between that time is oftentimes going to decide whether you are going to survive or not when it comes to like something like home invasion or something like that. So I think that the ability to be self-sufficient and protect yourself until you can get support from the powers that be, I think that's important, and I think that that's what people that tend to be pro-gun really kind of focus on. You know, for people that, at least people that I'm close to and people that I'm familiar with, you know, they don't look at it as anything other than I want to be able to protect myself.
Right.
And I want to be able to take care of myself. You know, when people get old, you hear people, some of their biggest fears are always, I'm afraid of getting old and not being able to take care of myself.
Right.
You know, and that, you know, that happens to everybody at some point.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's the ability to be able to take care of yourself, and when you've got government saying, "Don't worry about it, we'll take care of you," when you know that they won't.
Yeah.
You know, that's just you know.
How wholesome.
Yeah. So that's just the long and short of it, I guess. You know, it really represents the ability to take care of yourself.
Right. One final question. They just released some nominees or some potential entries into the new Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. Judas Priest once again for the second year in a row.
They should go in.
Might get snubbed, who knows? And then they got the classic lineup of Motorhead.
Yeah.
And Mickey D and Phil Campbell are not going to be a part of it. But I did see where Mickey D said they would like to go to it. They understand it, but you know, you've seen bands in the past that have been inducted, and they had everybody who performed in that band.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that my opinion matters, or that I even really. I don't know that I even have an opinion about it. I mean, if historically they've had all the members of bands represented, you know, previous and current or whatever. Obviously, Motorhead's not active anymore, but if they represent all of the different iterations of a band, then I don't see why they wouldn't do the same thing for Motorhead.
Right.
You know. So.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got on Heavy Metal and Booze. This has been Phil from All That Remains. I had a brain fart there.
That's all right.
We'll see you guys next time.